Let's see, was there anything that disappointed you in terms of equipment?
Disappointed me?
Was it the guitar or...
Many amps on the road sometimes disappoint, right? On the road, we get an amp and you think, oh, I got lucky today. When you go to play, the valve is messed up, the amp is sputtering. So this road experience has disappointed me with many amps, especially the Marshalls, right? The bigger ones, with that giant valve, were usually clipping more than the valve should have been, and then you could never get that more balanced sound. So, there was this shock many times on the road, right? Of being disappointed with guitars? I don't know how to tell you that.
Not disappointed, no.
Yeah, not disappointed, no.
And was there any equipment or guitar that surprised you?
Surprised? I remember playing a guitar, any SX, that had a really cool sound. Guitars are a crazy thing, right? Sometimes you pick up a simple pickup, a simple setup, but that batch came out, one that tuned perfectly and had a balanced sound, and the wood contributed to a sound, an SX that had a really nice sound.
It's funny because, like in this episode, Pardo comes here. Do you know Paul?
I've heard of him, but I don't know him. Magnus mentioned him.
There's a Memphis there. Everyone loves the Memphis. We're going to bring this Memphis here for us. See that it's a cheap guitar. And people are saying, no, this can't be a Memphis. It's not possible and it's old. It must be old.
It's like when you get those old Giannini guitars, you would find guitars with rosewood bodies. The simple ones, right? I think the wood was simpler, more accessible, and the cheaper guitars already had a bit of rosewood there. Today, getting rosewood is a whole ordeal, right?
It's not because of this Memphis. It became popular because people there enjoy it more than a Fender he has. There, in the studio, an American Fender.
I've also played on old Tajimas, and I thought, man, what a cool guitar. I don't remember if the neck was that kind of ivory, lighter, old, but the guitar was perfect, tuning, the neck was wonderful and incredible.
What also happens is that I think today, entry-level guitars are much better than they used to be, even because technology, makes it so that you can have fewer problems in the manufacturing process. We started playing at a time, an entry-level guitar. It was a struggle, right? It was a punishment. Yes. True.
And my first guitar was a Washburn Lion. I remember it.
It was popular here in Brazil.
My son started learning to play, testing. I found one just like the one I had, similar. I said, I'll buy it for my son so he can struggle a bit with it too.
The guy wasn't happy because it was a guitar. Foreign, right? Brother!
Lion. A big lion. And the sun neck. Still, if you look, you might be fooled, thinking it's a little sun cutaway.
And about equipment. I think these very basic pieces of equipment, some of them must have surprised you for sure. Certainly a pedal board that surprised me was the GT100.
Old one. It doesn't have IR. Doesn't have anything. Man, I started messing with it, started tinkering, and I said, man, what a nice little sound, connected directly to the interface. And then I'm a guy who broke many prejudices with pedal boards. I only saw that pedal board, connected directly to the AMP and such. When I sat down, I said, I'm going to test it, I'm going to update the program, connect it to the interface to see what it is. Open an amp, open a drive, let's see. And man, there's actually a lot of potential here to extract and such. And a cool preset came out.
When you make these presets, you have to use the pedal board specifically, because when you make an IR, it works for any...
Yeah, for most, at least.
But problem is with those who don't have it, our loader is that it...
And some... The issue with the preset isn't just the AMP and the drive, right? It's the combinations of everything. For example, I take a pedal board and make 30 presets, so I make a simpler crunch, a crunch with more effects, a dotted delay. Then I have to be involved in these processes with these various effects. I make a hotter drive, a wetter drive for the solo. I find a fuzz to get a nice sound. So I try to set up various things for the person so they can choose what they use the most. Oh, is there ownership? Let's find a reverb here with a long tail to sound nice. So it's this work of finding the AMP and the drive, but the effects also take some effort. There are pedal boards where you found an AMP and a drive. You added an effect, and it already changed the sound of the drive. And then you add something else and it already interfered with the... And you say, damn, you added a reverb and it brought in treble. And now, I understand. Then you start compensating to reach that pack of presets, which is generally my way of thinking. It's a dirtier amp for the hotter drives, and a flatter, cleaner amp for a little crunch for a cleaner clean.
But normally, when you think of amp models, are you Fender for both sounds?
It's usually a Fender for cleans and such, and usually a Marshall, a Bogner, a Friedman with a 4RX12 to make a hotter sound. That's usually the sound I'm looking for, you know?
I understand. Do you particularly like 100% clean sound, or do you always add a little dirt?
I like that warm, clean sound. Not quite dirty, but you can tell there's a little tube there making the sound a bit fuller. That's my clean.
So, but with the Fender?
If I play hard, it distorts.
But with the Fender, do you always use a booster? Is that it?
Yeah, it's right at the edge of the tube's limit, working with the gain and all, and then I use a drive pedal when I want something extras. But usually it's on a clean setting, just a bit fuller. Just a warm tube, a bit fuller.
But when you set up the amplifier presets, there's usually a gain knob that can go quite high. Drive, right?
Yes, I balance it with that gain to keep it at that warm point I like. But usually the drive comes from a little drive pedal. Sometimes it's set to 0. In my analog setup, sometimes I use the Fender amp and an OCD with the drive set to 0.
I do that a lot in mine too.
Warming up the sound there, that sound. Kind of like Stevie Ray Vaughan, a bit dirty, a bit honey-like, just to give it that warmth. And depending on how I play, sometimes it's clean. If I play with my fingers with reverb in a worship style, it's clean. If I play differently, switch to the double pickup, it's already something else. Look, you haven't changed anything? No, it's just here in the hand, up in the middle, and so on. It already changed the sound completely.
Robertinho de Recife has a funny thing. Here, he says he doesn't have a tone knob. He takes it off the guitar, right?
I saw that clip of him talking.
Little jaguar, little kitten, little jaguar, little kitten. When I want a more aggressive sound, the sound of a jaguar, which is more aggressive, I control it with the volume.
There, his drive. The Aroeira does this too. It was just one drive, kind of to do everything. If he wants a weaker drive, he takes it off here, controls it by hand. Solo. Increases the guitar volume, just one drive. You do the whole show with Aroeira. Just one drive, my king. Just one drive, it does everything. You do everything by hand, right there.
The kind of thing that's excellent for a show, right?
Yeah, depending...
But it doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah. But depending on the artist, there are shows that want more things, more reverbs, more effects, an opening full of delay and a bunch of stuff, an effect, a rotary there, I don't know what. So it really depends on the artist, on who you're educating.
Yes. Look, just what's happening with me. For this project of mine, now I have 3 drive channels to be able to record live. Is this happening with you? Do you have 3 drive channels?
You wanted different sounds, different drives there.
Because there's a song I have, an intro that has a drive sound. Then there's the lead guitar and there's the solo where I need a bit more. What am I going to do, man? Is there any solution for me other than this?
The solution I had in the ACD that I used with my foot, which increased the drive gain like this.
Your foot?
With my foot. The ACD has 2 main buttons there, which were, if I'm not mistaken, the volume and the gain. And sometimes when I wanted more gain, I would use my foot and give it a boost in gain. There, it would already change. But how would you do it?
With your big toe.
With the sneaker, this look...
Sneaker works. Man, but it doesn't work.
I don't recommend it. Don't do it, kids. Don't do this at home. I don't recommend it.
I had to take a pedal off. I had to take a pedal out of my case, man, because I said, man, there's no way I'm going to have to use 3.
But turn one off, the other on, or add them together.
No, I'm going to use the BB preamp. I have one that is just one. I have the double one. That one, it's 2 channels, so I'll leave one with a configuration there. An intro something. Then once the intro is over, I switch to the other, which will be a lead guitar with a bit of drive. And then for the solo, I add it with channel B, you know. A and B.
I saw Paul's workshop, both Paul Gilbert and Steve Vai. Those guys are kings of their drives there. And the sound of one is quite different from the other, right? You see it live like this in practice. And those guys are like that. It's first, second, third stage there. It keeps adding up. In the end, Steve Vai had the pedal on all. Like that, doing those legatos with the pedal, giving more sustain. I said, man.
Did he have 3 drives on at the same time?
It kept adding up. I don't know if the last one switched or if it was adding up to 3 there already with the amp and all.
But you like to stack them, 2 as well.
Sometimes yes, sometimes yes. When I used analog pedals, I would stack 2. I used the OCD with the TS9. And then I would mix the two when I wanted a warmer gain there or a green rhino with OCD and such. But almost all of my sound was that vibe, a kind of light drive, weak. It was the OCD that led the way. I would stay between zero drive and gradually increase it a bit, depending on the song.
When you didn't use the Kemper before, I imagine with the Kemper for the road, you must have everything there already preset, right?
Yes, by song and such.
But did you have two drive pedals?
Yes, I had those two, right? I would combine them or use them separately depending on the song. But then sometimes you even wanted another one, a hotter drive, something different. Then your pedal board keeps growing. Then you want a controller for all that because otherwise you're tap dancing. Then another guy. Then this phase has an amp. Now,
Who also uses three pedals? I remember Mascoin. You remember Mitch, right? Do you know who Marcio Cohen is?
Marcio, Cohen.
He plays with Bruno and Marone.
Oh, yes.
He knows a lot about sound, man.
And he uses a Bosch pedal board too. I don't know if he's the one who uses the GT8. It's a Bosch pedal board too, which is quite old, and he combines it with other things. Isn't it from Bruno and Marone? I might be confusing things. But there's one of those Sertanejo artists who use the old Bosch pedal boards and get a great sound. Harmonized sound. Bosch has some modulations like that, a Sertanejo style. The guy gets a nice harmonized sound. It's the pedal he has there, and he's already found all the paths, all the little details to get the best sound. This is something I also discovered on the road. You have that phase where this pedal is good, but not that good. That drive keeps changing until I reach the point where it's this one and that's it. Let's get the best sound out of this. And then, yes, I managed to get the sound. The guy is always in search of that perfect drive, that perfect sound. In the end, you go with the classics that will work.
Now, it's also that thing you've decided what you want. Sometimes you don't even want to try anything new anymore.
That's true.
It's hard, right? Let's do other things in life.
40 over 40, I'm not going to see you. Here's a new drive pedal for you. No need. The TS9 has been around for so many years.